Hello guys, I hope you are doing great. This video we're going to be talking about promises in JavaScript and how we can use them. Um, so what's a promise? A promise is an object that represents the eventual results of an asynchronous operation, uh, which allow us to handle a success or a failure in a clearer way than callbacks, if that makes sense. And a JavaScript promise can be um, one of the three states. So it could be pending, which is the initial state, or fulfilled, which is when a promise has completed successfully, or rejected, which means the promise wasn't completed successfully, which means it was failed. And yeah, let's give a quick example so you could understand what I'm talking about. Let's say const promise. This is how you create a promise. So new promise, and then a callback function is passed to the promise, which takes a resolve and reject as arguments. And then here we could resolve or reject. So let's resolve a value of like 10, right? So the way we handle promise is and is using those three, so then and catch and finally. So if we want to get access to the result, we use the then method on a promise. So the then method um, has access to a callback function which takes the result as an argument. So let's call it result, and let's console log it. So let's reload the page. There you go. 10. We got 10 as a result. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. So 10 is a result. What happens if we reject instead of resolving? So just reload the page. As you can see, guys, there's an uncaught error in a promise. So we didn't catch that error, right? So the way we could catch the error is by using the catch method on the promise. So catch, and then we get access to the error argument, and we just console log it. I mean, you could do whatever you want with the error. You could handle the error, like do something. This example, I'm just gonna console log the error. In this case, we're console logging the error. So let's reject with a reasonable error message. Something went wrong. Yes. As you can see, guys, there we go. We catch the error in here, right? So whenever we reject, and you're gonna have access to this value that's getting passed to the reject function. We use the catch for that. And if the promise was resolved, we basically use the then get access to the value that was resolved. Pretty much that's it. And there's also the finally method that we could use on promises. So finally, access to a callback function. In this case, I'm just gonna console log fine like this. Finally. So finally, as you can see, guys, here the promise was rejected and the finally was executed. So you can see like we console log finally from here. So finally will always be called or executed no matter if the promise resolved or rejects. It doesn't matter. It's always gonna be called. Let me show you. So instead of reject, let's say resolve, and as you can see, guys, it was resolved and we called the finally. Let me change this one to, let's say, success. So that's this is pretty much about promises. Oh yeah, remember guys, earlier I told you about state of a promise. The promise can be fulfilled or rejected or pending. And as I said at the beginning, or the initial state of a promise is pending. So let's see if that's true or not. Let's console log the promise. And as you can see, it's fulfilled. And this is the value that was returned from the promise. Instead of resolve, let's say reject, but let's say error. In this case, you guys are going to see promise was rejected with an error, right? But we can't do pretty much anything with it, right? If this is the way to handle a promise by using then and catch, right? This one is not useful at all. I just wanted to show you guys how to because I told you guys like the initial state of a promise is pending, but in here it wasn't pending, it was rejected, right? And why is that? So it's because the promise was executed immediately, so the promise didn't have to wait for anything, to be executed. So instead of just rejecting, let's use the set timeout method. Set timeout. We use this one, and it takes a handler callback and number of seconds before the callback is called. Let's say 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. So after that, I wanna reject. Yeah. So let's see, guys, what happens. So you see, it was pending, right? So the initial state of the promise is pending. Of course, we're gonna have an error in here, uncaught, because we didn't use the catch, but we'll find a way how to do it. But I was just trying to explain that at first the promise is in a state of pending. That's the initial state, and only then could be rejected or resolved, right? So that's it pretty much about promises. There is some promises methods that you may guys wanna read about or learn it, like promise.all, promise.raise, promise.any, promise.all settled. In this example, I'm just gonna go through one of them, which is promise.all. There's only a few times that you're gonna be using the other ones, but this one is actually good. So let's see how it works. Let's remove all of this upfront. So let's say we have, okay, so there's another way of declaring a promise. So we could use just promise dot, and then we could use reject or resolve. So this one, it's going to resolve the value of 10. This is the first one, right? Let's call this one P2 and this one P3. Right, and here we are going to use the promise that all, and the promise that all takes an array of promises as an argument, so P3, and then we're going to use the then method to get access to the results, right? So we're going to console log results, and as you can see, guys, we have 10 and 15 and 20 logged into the console. So before I go into details, let me explain what promise.all does. So promise.all is a method that waits for all the promises to be fulfilled and returns an array of their results. So in this case, these 3 promises were fulfilled and each one had a value returned. That's why in the results we have all those 3 values returned as an array. And one note is that if any promise is rejected, it immediately rejects the rejects with the reason of the first promise that rejects. What does that mean? So let's say if the P1 instead of resolving rejects, right? So what's gonna happen is, of course, we didn't use the catch to catch the error. So let's say error, and I'm just gonna console log it. Moment. And as you can see, guys, error is not a file. Yeah, so we have 10. So let's reject with a reasonable error. Something went wrong, something like that. So as you can see, guys, if only one of the promises rejects, the other ones like don't matter. So the whole array of promises would just reject, and we wouldn't be able to, get access to the array of results, So keep that in mind. So the method waits for all the promises to be fulfilled and returns an array of their results. So in the previous case, all the promises were resolved. That's why we had access to the array results. And if any promise is rejected, it immediately rejects with the reason of the first promise that rejects, right? So in this case, we rejected with this reason or value, whatever you want to call it. And that's it pretty much for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to leave a thumbs up and drop a comment and ask about something that you didn't understand or whatever. I'll make sure to respond to all the comments. And yeah, that's it. Well, hope you guys have a great day. See you guys in the next video.